was the unveiling of the official signpost and inspection of the courtroom.
The opening of area offices in place of local government development areas is an innovation of the Ogun State government in addressing the challenges and the creation of the LCDAs by the last administration. Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Honorable Afolabi Afakwe, made this known while explaining some of his initiatives as the helms of affairs in the ministry to make the local governments more functional and bring good governance closer to the people.
The target of this government is that we need to free local government of unnecessary burden. When we came aboard, we met 37 SCDA, 20 local governments. And that means with that, we have 57 chairmen, we have 57 vice chairmen, we are going to have 57 secretary, 57 organ, 57 days. And this is not sustainable. We don't have enough resources. The aim of that is just to bring governance closer to the people. But we can achieve this in another way. When I also thought, okay, let's go back to local government, let's reduce the unnecessary expenditure, but then now make this area of this SCD office area offices. As area offices, we still move government closer to the people. At the same time, we will reduce unnecessary expenditure.
Honorable Afakwe said the ministry has introduced ICT to its operations to ensure efficiency and effectiveness. The commissioner also speaks on how the issue of the Cronet others has been strategically resolved.
Because when we came on board, a committee was set up that recommended that look at the process to see whether they follow due process. The committee recommended that the process has not been the due process has not been complied with, and as such recommended that they should not be recognized as obas. This has been taken to the council. It has been approved. There's no way anybody is to be parading himself or herself as a coronet oba among those 75. But nevertheless, they have two options. Some of them have gone to court, which is okay. It's a fundamental human right. If the court now said the process is good, they are free to come back. Some of them have applied. I've told them, if you think you have a genuine case, go and start the process again.
He promised that the local governments will be made to serve the people more. Various mechanical instruments invented by the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro with 100% local content to fight the scourge of coronavirus have been commended to be of high quality. Ogun State Coordinator, Standard Organization of Nigeria, State Office 1, OTA, Engineer Jerome Moru, said this during the inspection of 3 fabricated disinfectant machines constructed by pupils of the Polytechnic. Peter Falomo completes the report.
The need to fight and flush the pandemic of COVID-19 out of the society was the reason for the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro to come up with multiple outlets, mechanical hand washing and sanitizing machine, ventilators, as well as disinfectant booths to conquer the spread of the virus.
We are established to impact on our immediate environment as a technological institution. That is the objective of government. So when there is a problem, we are supposed to be problem solvers, find solutions to problems. There is pandemic, everybody is looking for solutions, and we feel that we should be part of the solution. And that's exactly what we have gone to do.
The initiative, therefore, brought officials of the Standards Organization of Nigeria to inspect the fabricated projects in the school being put together by the electrical, mechanical, physics, chemistry, engineering, and the school's medical center. Ogun State Coordinator of the organization, Office 1, OTA, Engineer Jerome Umoru, says quality products in line with international standard remains their yardstick.
It's not just a measure of just getting a machine that is supplying volume and pressure. We are talking about a machine that gives an accurate volume and pressure to the patient.
We also walk through disinfectant booth, where the individual will pass through the booth, and the booth will sanitize the person. Then we also have hand washing and sanitizing machine that is totally mechanical.
In the past, protecting is looked upon as nowhere. But with what we have done today, or what we are doing now, it shows that protecting is something to reckon with. And now we are going to partner with you in such a way that your product will be satisfied and people will continue to look for it.
The installation team thereafter moved around the fabricated COVID-19 equipment at the conference center. In his reactions to the fabricated machines produced with 100% local contents, Engineer Jerome Umoru did not only commend the Federal Polytechnic, but added that Standards Organization of Nigeria would be ready to partner with the institution for mass production.
SON, Standards Organization of Nigeria, is solely behind them. We are going to help also in certifying their products. And after certification, we help also in projecting their products to the outside world to show that something good is happening in this place.
According to the coordinator, Federal Polytechnic Ilaro Palliative Committee, Engineer Cletus Okoye, the institution would not relent in its community social responsibility efforts, also give palliatives to members of their immediate communities to reduce the effects of COVID-19 pandemic. Peter Falomo, Ogtv News.
The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, on Sunday announced that confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Nigeria have now reached 10,162 after the country recorded 307 new cases. It said on the 31st of May 2020, 307 new confirmed cases were recorded and the death toll has now reached 287. No new state has reported a case in the last 24 hours. To date, Nigeria has tested 60,825 people, of which 10,162 cases have been confirmed positive. 3,007 cases have been discharged, and 287 deaths recorded in 35 states and the Federal Capital Territory. The 307 new cases are reported from 15 states: Lagos 188, FCT 44, Ogun 19, Kaduna 14, Oyo 12, Bayelsa 9, Gombe 5, Kano and Delta with 3 each. Imo, Rivers, Niger, and Bauchi recorded 2 each, while Plateau and Kwara have 1 apiece. The federal government has announced the relaxation of the restriction placed on worship centers as part of measures to curtail the spread of COVID-19. The chairman of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, announced this during the daily briefing of the panel. Mustafa, who is also the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, said the ban on interstate travel is still in place. He said there is a ban on gatherings of more than 20 people outside of a workplace. Relaxation of restriction on places of worship was based on guidelines issued by PTF and protocols agreed by the state governments. The federal government also said that schools would remain closed till further notice. As the state government relaxes the lockdown order, there is need for people to be more conscious and follow necessary measures put in place to curtail the spread of COVID-19 in the state. The head of Department, Community Medicine, Federal Medical Center, Idiaba, Abeokuta, Dr. Gloria Bosedi, stated this during a visit to Ogun State Television, Abeokuta.
Yes, the incidences are still increasing, but the response is more coordinated in the terms that, particularly in the health sector, more health workers who are exposed are fewer, more protection is being done. There's still a lot to be done, but the response as it is now is much better than when the COVID-19 incidents first started.
She also said that COVID-19 is real, adding that basic hygiene must be strictly followed to avoid the spread of the virus.
Now that the lockdown is being eased so that our economic activities can pick up again, I think the watchword for everyone is that prevention is still better than cure. Prevention in terms of all that we have been advocating all this while, maintaining social distancing. We talked about keeping at least 1 meter apart from your peers that you have to deal with, maintaining cleanliness, that is washing your hands regularly with soap and water.
That was the head of Department Community Medicine, Federal Medical Center, Ijaba, Abeokuta, Dr. Gloria Bosade. As part of steps to curtail the spread of COVID-19 in Ekiti State, Governor Kadi Fayemi on Monday inaugurated a mobile laboratory to facilitate COVID-19 testing in the state. The installation of the molecular laboratory at the Ekiti State Teaching Hospital, Ado-Ekiti, comes barely a month after the state unveiled the Ekiti State COVID-19 Response Hub, a geographic information system-based application created to manage data on the pandemic in the state. The COVID-19 mobile laboratory acquired by the state government is fully equipped with vital testing instruments and biosafety materials, including an autoclave biosafety cabinet, centrifuge, heating blocks, vortexes, pipette, and PCR machines to support COVID-19 testing. Speaking at the commissioning, Governor Fayemi said, with the installation and commissioning of the laboratory, Ekiti State now has testing capacity of up to 400 tests daily and will be conducting tests across all 16 local government areas to facilitate early detection of the coronavirus and ensure timely and adequate treatment of any infected person. Commenting on the sustainability of the laboratory, Governor Fayemi said the COVID-19 mobile lab will remain in the state even after the pandemic has abated and will be utilized as a fully functional molecular laboratory. Kogi State Governor Alhaji Yahya Bello has declared 2 weeks lockdown in Kabakuni local government area for contact tracing of COVID-19 cases in the state. This is coming after the Nigeria Center for Disease Control announced 2 confirmed COVID-19 cases in the local government area. The governor said, though the state government had a reservation for the NCDC's announcement of COVID-19 cases in the state, it was locking down the area as a proactive step. He called on security operatives in the state to ensure that the lockdown was effectively enforced. He promised adequate palliatives to cushion the effect of the lockdown in the affected area. He, however, described as suspicious the declaration of 2 positive cases in the state. The governor added that NCDC did not carry health officials in the state along in its investigation prior to the so-called confirmation. The federal government is to engage 774,000 youth under the newly introduced Buhari Young Farmers Network through the National Agricultural Land Development Authority in the next 6 months. The scheme is part of the 3-pronged federal government effort at ensuring a post-COVID-19 national food security. Other projects are Back to Farm and providing farm input. The Executive Secretary of the just revived NALDA, Prince Paul Ikone, who disclosed this on Monday in Abuja, said the young farmers will be drawn from the 774 local governments in the country with a pilot number of 100 per local government. Ikane said the Buhari Young Farmers Network is to inject the youth into Nigerian farming business across the nation in different farming activities ranging from crop farming to annual husbandry. INEC demands membership register from political parties towards the conduct of governorship elections. More news and reports after this break. Welcome back. The organized labor has urged political leaders at every level to respect the wishes of the Nigerian people and allow the full exercise of financial autonomy for the judiciary and legislature in the states. The organized labor has also accused the 36 state governors of violating the oath they swore 2, to uphold the Nigerian Constitution at all times. In a statement issued on Monday by the President of Nigeria Labour Congress, Comrade Ayuba Waba, the organized Labour commended President Muhammadu Buhari for signing the Executive Order 10. The NLC President noted that the 8th National Assembly carried out a constitutional amendment that gave financial autonomy to the judiciary and state legislators, which was signed into law by the President, even though some state lawmakers voted against the autonomy. It said that a strong legislative and judicial institutions are essential ingredients of democracy. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has directed political parties wishing to adopt the direct primary mode to elect their candidates for the Edo and Ondo governorship elections to submit their membership register to the Commission. The Commission noted this will allow for effective monitoring of the party primaries. It also requested to be furnished with the list of delegates by the political parties that opted for the indirect primary mode. It also, INEC National Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, who announced the request during a virtual meeting with political party leaders, charged the parties to ensure rank-of-three primaries, adding that party primaries form the foundation for the secondary election conducted by the Commission. He also restated the preparedness of the Commission to conduct the governorship and by-elections within the context of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, has presented his nomination firm seeking re-election on the platform of the All Progressives Congress, APC, to President Muhammadu Buhari. The governor stormed the presidential villa, Abuja, on Monday to see the president, brushing aside the controversy generated by his clash with his predecessor and national chairman of APC, Comrade Adams Shomali. He told State House correspondents after the meeting that even though President Buhari is a father to all, it will be wrong to assume or take things for granted. The Bayelsa State Governorship Election Tribunal, sitting in Abuja on Monday, dismissed an application by a political party, Liberation Movement, seeking to be joined as a co-petitioner in petition challenging the outcome of the November 16, 2019 poll in the state. The party's governorship candidate in the election, Vijay Puma, had filed the petition on February 20, 2020, without joining the party as a co-petitioner. He had filed the petition barely 2 weeks after the Independent National Electoral Commission deregistered LM on February 6, 2020. In opposing the application, Erujaku, through his counsel, Chukuma Machukuume, SAN, asked the tribunal to dismiss LM application for joinder. In its ruling on Monday, the three-man tribunal led by Justice Mohammed Sirajo upheld Ume's opposition and dismissed the application for lacking in merit. Protesters, including students of the University of Benin, UNIBEN, activists and concerned individuals on Monday stormed the headquarters of the State Police Command in Edo State, demanding justice for Vera Uwaila Mozua. Uwaila, 100-level student of the Department of Microbiology in UNIBEN, was reported to have been raped and killed by some hoodlums inside a church where she went to read at the Koba Hill area of Benin City, the Edo State capital. The protesters, wearing black outfits and bearing placards decrying rape, stayed a walk from the King Square area of Benin City and eventually took their message to the State Police headquarters. The Deputy Commissioner of Police Operations, Ayola Ajala, who received the protesters, assured them that investigations have commenced and arrests have been made in connection to Uwa's murder. He also debunked allegations that the police station where the matter was reported refused to look into the incident for lack of funding. Meanwhile, Uwa's siblings, who were also part of the protest, demanded that justice be served promptly. And the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has deployed forensic support to the Edo State Police Command to complement and quicken actions in the ongoing investigation into the killing of a 100-level student of University of Benin, Uwaila Omozua. In a statement on Monday by First Public Relations Officer Frank Mba, the IG said the development is part of deliberate and concerted efforts by the Nigeria Police High Command to unravel the circumstances surrounding the brutal attack and the unfortunate death of the student. Omozua was raped and murdered by hoodlums when she went to raid at the RCCG Miracle Sanctuary Mega Parish, Edo Province 10 in Benin City on May 27. The IGP, while condemning the attack, commiserates with the family, friends, and colleagues of the deceased. He calls for calm and assures that the force will surely bring the perpetrators of the callous act to book in the shortest time possible. Suspected bandits have attacked a Ruga settlement at Agwala village in Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State, leaving many homeless. The bandits were reported to have invaded the community in broad daylight, set houses of the locals ablaze, thereby forcing them to flee the community for their lives. The leader of the Fulani community told reporters that the attack was carried out by outsiders as they have lived peacefully with their Adara neighbors in the past 20 years. Chairman Mijeti Ala Kajuru, Yusuf Musa, noted that although no life was lost, properties destroyed are so much that they cannot be accounted for. The Adamawa State Police Command has nabbed 69 people suspected to have been involved in kidnapping, armed robbery, homicide, and violence in parts of the state. They include 19 suspected kidnappers, 25 suspected Sheila boys, 6 charged for criminal intimidation and extortion, and 18 for inciting communal clashes in Tingno in Lamuda local government area, and 1 for culpable homicide. The State Commissioner of Police, CP Olugbenga Adeyanju, who paraded the suspects on Monday, said the police made the arrest in the course of dislodging kidnappers, Sheila boys, armed robbers, and cattle rustlers from their hideouts. He said the operations were with support from the state government, vigilantes, and hunters. He said the suspected kidnappers were rounded up when, following information, operatives of the State Police Command and members of the vigilantes and hunters stormed a hotbed of kidnappers called Yadim Hills on May 29, 2020, and apprehended 7 suspects. According to him, investigation further led to the arrest of another syndicate that kidnapped Sule Haro and Salome Ishaya and killed their husband, Pastor Ishaya, in April 2020 at Mararaba Boki in Gombe local government area. He added that the suspected kidnapping gang also kidnapped one Aminu Hassan Isa Usman and Hamza Adamu of Uba village in Hang local government area and demanded 10 million naira ransom before they were rescued. The group further confessed to have kidnapped Dode Zumo and Yao Muhammadu, both residents of Zumo in Maiha local government area, and collected 1 million naira before they were apprehended. Federal government reduces pump price of petrol to 121 naira 50 kobo per litre. Up next is business news. Welcome to the business segment of the news. The Petroleum Product Pricing Regulatory Agency has announced a new pump price band of 121 naira 50 kobo to 123 naira 50 kobo per litre for premium motor spirit, also known as petrol. The PPPRA, which is an agency of the federal government, disclosed this in a circular to fuel marketers dated May 31, 2020. The sharp drop in crude oil prices on the back of the spread of coronavirus saw the landing cost of petrol hit on a record low in March, wiping off subsidy on the product. The pump price of petrol, which is still being regulated by the federal government, was reduced to 125 naira per litre from 145 naira per litre on March 18, 2020, effective March 19. Economic activities in manufacturing, production, new orders and other indices contracted in May after recording at least 36 months of consecutive growth. The Statistics Department of the Central Bank of Nigeria disclosed this in its Purchasing Managers Index Survey report for the month of May 2020. It stated that the Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index in May stood at 42.4 index points, indicating contraction in the manufacturing sector for the first time after recording expansion for 36 consecutive months. At 44.5 points, the CBN stated that production level index for the manufacturing sector declined in May 2020 after 37 consecutive months of recorded growth. At 42.8 points, the new orders index declined after 36 consecutive months of growth, indicating declines in new orders in May 2020. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has directed all banks to resolve all outstanding issues relating to field automated teller machine, point-of-sale terminal, and other electronic marketing banking transactions within 2 weeks, starting June 8, 2020. It also revised timelines for reversals and resolution of refund complaints on electronic channels. A statement by CBN said this was to further enhance service quality, particularly quick refunds when customers experience failed transactions, dispense errors, or disputes. It added that key service providers in the Nigerian payment system had committed to establish an integrated dispute resolution platform for the industry and enhance their payment system infrastructure and processes to reduce incidents of transaction failure. The Central Bank of Nigeria has extended the time frame for the submission of the 2019 audited financial statements of other financial institutions due to the effect of COVID-19 pandemic on their operations. Of these include microfinance banks, discount houses, bureau de change, payment service banks, and primary mortgage banks. The Apex Bank disclosed the extension in a circular titled Extension of the Time Frame for the Submission of 2019 Audited Financial Statements, signed by the Director of the Financial Institutions Supervision Department, Inkuru Asegu. For the avoidance of doubt, all other financial institutions are required to submit the 2019 Audited Financial Statement on or before July 31, 2020. The CBN said it will monitor compliance with the extended date and the faulters will be sanctioned. Real estate service growth fell from 2.51% in the fourth quarter of 2019 to 1.12% in the first quarter of 2020. The National Bureau of Statistics disclosed this in Nigeria's gross domestic report for the first quarter of 2020. It stated that in nominal terms, real estate services in the first quarter of 2020 grew by 1.12%, lower by 9.15% than the growth rate reported for the same period in 2019, and lower by 1.39% compared to the preceding quarter. The contribution to normal GDP in first quarter 2020 stood at 5.23% as against 5.79% recorded in first quarter of 2019 and 6.45% accounted in fourth quarter of 2019. Real GDP growth for real estate services in the first quarter stood at minus 4.75%, lower than the growth recorded in the same period of 2019 by minus 5.69% and minus 1.31% relative to fourth quarter 2019. The Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers has described the federal government's SUKUK bond as a wealth creation strategy in this period of COVID-19 pandemic. The Institute urged investors to partner with stockbrokers for investment advice on the processes and procedures for investing in the financial asset, whose ongoing sale is expected to end on June 2, 2020. The U.S. said this in a statement signed by its president, And according to the Institute, the profit to investors is predetermined at regular interval to enable them enjoy steady cash flows. It said SUKUK helps in redistribution of wealth. It is a risk management instrument which is ideal for both speculators and investors. Speculators can sell before maturity. The instrument will help the government to finance large projects. Violence erupts on 6th day of protest in United States over death of George Floyd. Details in this package. Welcome to the foreign segments of the news. Violence has erupted in cities across the United States on the 6th night of protest, sparked by the death of, on police custody of African-American George Floyd. Also in United Kingdom, schools have opened for more pupils, but half of parents still wary of releasing their children due to coronavirus pandemic. Details are in the world today.
Violence has erupted in cities across the U.S. on the 6th night of protests sparked by the death of police custody of African-American George Floyd. Curfews have been imposed in nearly 40 cities, but people have largely ignored them, leading to tense standoffs. Riot police clashed with protesters in New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, and Los Angeles, firing tear gas and pepper bullets to try to disperse the crowds. Police vehicles were set on fire and shops were looted in several cities. Police in Washington, D.C. have fired tear gas at demonstrators who set fire to properties near the White House. They include a historic church, St. John's Episcopal Church, known as the Church of the Presidents, near the White House.